So my generation, we were like in Vedic school from the age of 4, and mantras and rising before dawn and studying scriptures and, playing archaic instruments and singing songs in foreign languages. So, then I hit my teens and, I had a crisis of identity. So, making my own way, finding myself, turning into a man. What does it mean to be a man? Who am I? How do I fit into this world? So it took a lot of healing for me to try and... My mom wasn't my mom. She was a lady that visited me.
Wow.
My mom was Krishna. My mom was the deity. My mother, my father. I would pray and cry to my mother and father. Why do you leave me in this material world? If you love me, can't you see that I'm sincere when I sing? Why are you leaving me here? Just take me back to your realm. This is how I thought as a kid. Why am I here? I'm obviously sincere. Why are you waiting? Why do I have to die? Just take me now. Why? That's as a kid, you're life is so difficult. Why am, So then I have to realize oh, I'm a man and my mom's a mom and she's trying her best and kind of reimagining life. So I wrote this song as a way of healing that for me. And the English part is a mantra too. I love you, I do. I love you, I do. There may have been things, and I repeat it each time for mother, father. It's kind of going through all the relationships in our lives and trying to infuse them with sacred sound, Sita and Ram, some of the most ancient names of the divine known to humankind.
Hello and welcome to another episode of For Soul's Sake, a podcast in which we aim to give you candid, real conversations with amazing people from across the globe that are the best in wellness, the best in spirituality, the best in Kirtan song and story. Today we are joined by the amazing, the incredible, one of my mentors actually, someone that I deeply respect and value and that I learn a lot from. His name is Gaura Vani. His remarkable journey starts from Bhakti upbringings all the way to the creation of soul-stirring, inspirational music. Born into an American spiritual family, Gaura Vani's path led him to India at the age of 6, where he immersed himself in sacred music and spiritual teachings. A rebellious phase followed, but waves of inner emptiness eventually drove him to embrace a monastic life in Venice, California, and seek guidance from his guru, Radhika Swami. Intriguing twists of fate brought Gaura to work in Hollywood, become the lead singer of a Slovenian rock band, and eventually coalesce with a rotating cast of fellow Kirtan leaders forming As Kindred Spirits, the band. Their soulful melodies and fusion of traditional and Western elements resonated deeply, inspiring a burning desire to uplift and serve the world through music. Witnessing the birth of Chant for Change, a groundbreaking event empowering the new Obama administration, the band's captivating performances for NPR, CBS, Lollapalooza, and Bhakti Fest, Gaura Vani has shared globally from evening kirtans to international stages, touching hearts in yoga studios and grassroots gatherings across continents. Join us today for an enchanting episode as we explore the life, music, and profound impact of Gaura Vani, an inspiring fusion of spirituality and creativity that continues to touch the lives of countless listeners worldwide. Gaura Vani, thank you so much for being here. Incredible, incredible.
Wow, I want to meet this guy. What an introduction.
He's a cool guy. Let me tell you from experience.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's wonderful to be here in London. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
And to see you and what you're doing here, it's incredible. To meet your community and experience, more than witness, experience your kirtan. We got to do kirtan together in Barcelona.
Yep.
And then back here in London. It's been great.
You're like one of my idols. So then seeing you up on stage in Barcelona and then having you here and sitting opposite me, I can't help but get fanboy moments, this is incredible. I can't believe this is happening. So,
I like to say, if Krishna's the moon, then we can all be stars, baby.
Oh, cheesy, but I love it.
But it actually is very true.
Yeah. You're known for being just that.
cheesy.
No. I'm not going to say that. Like storytelling, songwriting, like you've got a real knack for it, a real talent for it. And I'd love to hear. Usually people wait and do the introduction of a person and really get into their story. But I think what would be really nice is if I just off the bat asked you, tell us a story, Gaura Vani. Tell us something.
Well, children, gather round, gather round. Okay, I got a great story for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, the TV show Looney Tunes, some of the most iconic, famous cartoon characters.
I grew up on that.
Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, Porky the Pig, right? There's that, what's that rooster called? Anyway, all these guys, right?
The rooster.
They're all, God, I want to remember that rooster's name.
Someone that
I'm going to
knows
be
the
like
rooster's name.
leaving.
Put it in the comment section. Tell us what the rooster's name is.
Yeah, that's his name. So they're all the voices on the whole show are done by one man. It's like 1,500 distinctly different voices done by Mel Blanc. He's a legend in Hollywood.
One guy did all of those voices?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And he did it for years. So he's an older man. His son's grown up, like an adult. He's been doing this for years. He's famous, whatever. He's still doing it. He gets in a car accident. And some injury to his brain. He ends up in a coma for like 2 weeks. He's just laying in a coma. And they don't know what to do. So this story is about the power of sound and story and how deeply they touch us, okay? So he's laying in this coma, and his son's visiting him every day, talking to the doctors. The inflammation and swelling goes down. No one can figure out why he's still in a coma. There's nothing physically that should make him stay in that state. So finally, basically what the doctors told him is his brain, the electrical system of his brain is basically an idle. It's like a car that's just not turning over. It's like, but it's not igniting. It's like everything's fine. There's gas in the car. It's just not turning over. So one day a doctor comes in to check on him, and his son's there, and the doctor picks up the chart, and he just kind of spontaneously says, "All right, what's up, doc?" Like that, right? The doctor says this. And the sound goes into Mel Blanc's ear and into his heart and restarts the engine. And he gets up and goes, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess I'm doing all right. Like that. And he was done. He was back. He was awake, alive. So they somehow or other figured that sound created just the right impulse of energy in his heart, brain, body. I mean, psychophysical, whatever reality. And he came back to life. Wow. Now that's him imprinting himself with these characters and personalities so that they were alive in his heart. It saved his life. Imagine the power of sacred sound, what it can do. So, for me, one of the things I'm most fascinated is whatever religion you come from, or even if you're an atheist, an animist, a Zoroastrian, I don't know, whatever. Story and song. And in some places, it's even just rhythm as religion itself, rhythm as a spiritual practice, groove. Some people who don't think they're religious at all will go to a concert and they will have a mystical experience in the groove. It's trance. They're reconnecting with their spirit. And, oh my God, don't get me started. But everything is rhythm. Like, the reason why I can't put my hand through my hand is because the protons, neutrons, and electrons are having a drum circle. They're banging out rhythms. And that's the only thing that stops me. It's rhythm. Otherwise, it's just space. Everything is primarily space, right? Existence is mostly space. Yeah. So yeah, rhythm is what makes things have shape. It's the rhythm of the electrons. Like, everything is sound and story.
Yeah, I mean, that's your life right there. Yeah. I think we know what we're going to call this now. I know what we're going to call this episode. Sound and story. Story and sound. Song and story. Song and story. That's the one. Song and story. Your life is just like the epitome of song and story. Like, even when you're speaking, it's like, it's almost poetic. Everything turns into poetry. Was that always like that from a young age? Like, did you grow up around artists? What influenced your style? Like, everything's very song and story based.
So my parents are very artistic people. My dad is an amazing artist, lives in Los Angeles. His legal name is Marek Buchwald. My mom's name is Rukmini. And they met as monks, as young teenagers. And, my mom was 16 when she showed up at the Krishna temple and met this old Indian man, Srila Prabhupada. And he said to her, you meet this great guru. What will the guru say to me on my meeting? What wisdom? He said, where are your parents? She was so young.
Wow.
And she looks even younger. Where are your parents? So they had left their lives as young, they were searching, so many people from that generation after the trauma of the Second World War, and then especially in America, going from the trauma of the war to this intense materialism of the 50s and 60s. These kids were searching, and they started finding answers because Prabhupada brought this vast, rich tradition to the West with him. He just looked like one guy, but he was representing thousands of teachers. So they were meeting the spearhead of this vast tradition. These like simple kids, So yeah, they just left their lives. They became monks. And in the Bhakti tradition, in this tradition of devotion, you can be married and be a monk, right? You could be single and be a monk. You can be married and be a monk. You can be a full-on renunciant and be a monk. It's about the lifestyle of, living everything as an offering. So I was born into this tradition, this community. And yeah, my mom's service was art, and she would decorate the icons, the deities, at the sacred space. Like the core of the temple is this altar, this sacred space. And in our tradition, the idea is that just like, you have a post box, right, which is deputized by the government to receive mail on behalf of the government to then send it somewhere else. You can have that in the spiritual world. If God chooses, God can come to a place and be that recipient of offerings. And, so it's not that like Krishna devotees feel like God is a stone like icon, but the idea is it's like a post box. If with devotion and love you offer a leaf or a fruit or a flower, that Krishna will personally be there to receive it.
Wow.
Not that he lives in Brooklyn or something.
Love that analogy.
So yeah, my father is a painter, a sculptor, very visionary. He's doing all this incredible fractal work on the Bhagavad Gita these days. Maybe we can share some images.
Yeah, sure.
With your viewers. They come. Oh, that one's really cool. Yeah, so they're wonderful artists. My mom now travels the world as a Bhakti teacher. And one of the things that we have together is we share a lot of poetry. She'll send me inspiring quotes and stuff.
She's a great person.
Yeah. You should have her on your show.
Yeah. If she's ever in London.
Yeah. Should get her to London just to come on your show.
I'd do it.
So, yeah, it's been interesting. Actually, I know we had planned to share some songs at some point, but there is a song I'd love to share that's connected to the story of
Let's do it now.
Yeah. Can we
do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it now. Cool.
Mother, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. Mother, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. There may have been things that I've done to make you doubt, but don't you doubt, no. Mother, I want you to know that I love you, I do. 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 You're such a good singer. Maybe you'll join me on the choruses.
Oh,
love you, I do. I love you.
Too much pressure.
Oh, we can do it. I'll give you a nod next time. Father, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. Father, I want you to know that I love you. you, I love you. There may have been things that I've done to make you doubt, but don't you doubt, no. Father, I want you to know that I love you, I do. 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 Children, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. Children, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. There may have been things that I've done to make you doubt, but don't you doubt, no. Children, I want you to know that I love you, I do. 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 My darling, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. My darling, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. There may have been things that I've done to make you doubt, but don't you doubt, no. Darling, I want you to know that I love you, I do. 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 Sitaram, Jai, Sitaram. Sitaram, Jaya, Sitaram.
Sitaram, Jaya, Sitaram. Sitaram, Jaya, Sitaram.
Together. Sitaram, Jai, Sitaram. Sitaram, Jaya, Sitaram, oh, Sitaram, oh, Sitaram, oh, Sitaram, oh, Sitaram. Jesus, I want you to know. Allah, I want you to know. Buddha, I want you to know. Rama, I want you to know. I sing Krishna, I want you to know that I love you. I love you, Lord. I want you to know that I love you. I love you. There may have been things that I've done to make you doubt, but don't you doubt, no. Lord, I want you to know that I love you, I do. 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 Two more times. I love you, I do. I love you, I do. I love you, I do. I love you, I.
I'm almost in tears over here.
Thanks for singing with me. Thank you for singing with me. I knew you were singing. I can hear you. I know you're singing.
Incredible. For me, that was really powerful. Why? Because I'm in a place in my life where right now, lots happening. I feel like all my dreams are coming true. I'm serving in a way that I feel is really conducive to my nature. I'm sharing in so many different places and arenas. And even though that's really, really beautiful, it comes at the sacrifice of my family. And so I've heard the song before, but it touched me then because I'm reflecting, like, I want to tell my family I love them so much. I appreciate them so much. But unfortunately, balancing both is difficult, you know, and I wanted to know how you do it, because I'm still figuring it out.
Wow. I love you so much more at this moment than I did before I sang the song. You're a wonderful man. Wow. Yeah. You know, success is so individual and arbitrary. If you catch someone at the wrong arc of their life, they're a failure. And if you catch them at a different arc, they're a grand success.
Right.
And if you judge them from one map, they're a failure. And another map, they're a success.
Don't I know it?
But that's why we have to have, this is why your podcast exists and my music exists. We have to constantly be recalibrating our inner compass.
Yeah.
Where are we going? What is the hope? What is the aspiration? What is the essence? What does it mean to be ourselves? Who do we want to be? I have sacrificed, you know, we were talking about this earlier. I have sacrificed so many opportunities to be home with my family.
Right.
Instead of sticking around and networking or, you know, like catching this extra, oh, by the way, we're going to so-and-so's for a party on, you know, Sunday. You want to come with us? It's like, no, I got to get home. Like, I have kids, I have family. Like, so many times I'm like, man, you know, but now my kids are, your kids are young now.
Yeah, babies.
My kids are teenagers. My eldest just finished her first year of college, and they're like, boom, boom, boom. So it's like college, senior in high school. My son's just entering high school. The fact that we have the times together that we have has helped me be who I am and them be who they are. And it's been so important. You know, one of the ways that I gauge success in my life is that I'm still like married to the same lady.
That's incredible.
And we have 3 incredible kids.
That's massive.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even take credit for it, actually. I'm just grateful for it. I probably would have screwed it up 1,000 times. but you know, I've been protected. Yeah. You know. So, you know, so that song, I Love You, I'm so glad that you received it in the way that it was intended.
I think the whole week, I mean, for context, even though I know this episode is probably going to come out a little later, the week that Gaura Vani has been here, I've just been trying to jump in on every opportunity, and I've loved the songs, but that's the first one that hit me. I guess it's because it's exactly what you said. It's at that arc. I'm at that place right now where I'm really thinking about it.
Well, I'll take this opportunity to express it. You know, Radhika, and for your viewers, I reached out to you and a few other friends. I haven't been in London really in 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years, yeah.
So I didn't even know how to organize a single thing. And you guys just pulled together as a family, you know.
That's what we do.
Yeah, and it's really been, and we've had some wonderful times together over this week and accomplished some really wonderful things. So I wrote this song as a way of healing my relationship with my mom, who I think is a wonderful person. But in her fanatic enthusiasm of, you know, joining a new spiritual community in her youth, you know, my parents met this holy man and they thought, like, if we just do this for a few months, we'll be holy too.
Right.
You know, no one calculated that he had been doing it for 70 years, you know, and that he was born from, you know, a family that had been doing it for lifetimes, generations upon generations. And Prabhupada, their guru, you know, he has this way. I mean, there's this clip floating around the internet right now of some young man in Australia asking Prabhupada, is it really possible for someone like me who's been steeped in a lifetime and maybe even lifetimes of selfishness to actually become realized, enlightened? You know, at the end of this life, I could actually return to the divine realm and be in communion with God, with Krishna. And Prabhupada, with fire coming out of his eyes, like glowing, he interrupts the man and he's like, in 1 minute, you can see Krishna. In 1 minute. That urgency, Prabhupada had it. You feel it. He believes it, and you believe it when you see him.
Yeah.
And he lived like that up until the moment that he passed away. I mean, he was literally dictating scripture, translating scripture on his deathbed into a dictaphone held by another man to the moment that he passed. Like, that is just like cosmically unbelievable.
It is incredible.
I mean,
I've seen the clip. It's like so faith affirming.
I mean, I will be lucky if I'm even at all conscious, not pumped full of morphine or something. Like, seriously, I mean, at the moment, oh, jeez. But they caught that fire. These young people caught that fire. And so when I was born, you know, my mom thought, my son, born into a community like this, destined to be a saint. Of course. Why else would he choose to take birth in our family? So let's send him to traditional Vedic 5,000-year-old boarding school at the age of 4.
Jeez.
You know, it's like what they do with the Dalai Lama and
It's hardcore.
Hardcore. So my generation, we were like in Vedic school from the age of 4, and mantras and rising before dawn and studying scriptures and, you know, playing archaic instruments and singing songs in foreign languages. So, you know, then I hit my teens and, you know, I had a, you know, crisis of identity. So, you know, making my own way, finding myself, turning into a man. What does it mean to be a man? Who am I? How do I fit into this world? So it took a lot of like healing for me to try and. My mom wasn't my mom. She was a lady that visited me. Wow. My mom was Krishna. My mom was the deity. My mother, my father. You know, I would like pray and cry to my mother and father. Why do you leave me in this material world? If you love me, can't you see that I'm sincere when I sing? Why are you leaving me here? Just take me back to your realm. This is how I thought as a kid. Like, why am I here? I'm obviously sincere. Why are you waiting? Why do I have to die? Just take me now. Like, why? That's like, as a kid, you're like, life is so difficult. Why am, you know? So then I have to realize like, oh, I'm a man and my mom's a mom and she's trying her best and like kind of like reimagining life. So I wrote this song as a way of healing that for me. And the English part is a mantra too. I love you, I do. I love you, I do. There may have been things, and I repeat it each time for mother, father. You know, it's kind of going through all the relationships in our lives and trying to infuse them with sacred sound, Sita and Ram, some of the most ancient names of the divine known to humankind. You know, it's so interesting being in the, you know, growing up in this culture. And, you know, it's something I think I share with you. Even though we look different, your skin's brown, my skin's white. But like growing up in a culture like this, that's in the Western atmosphere, how do the two things fit together? It seems like opposite charged magnets.
Foreign in one sense.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like trying to transplant a tree in a foreign environment. You know, it's like you need a greenhouse or something. How do you hold? So, you know, Sita and Ram, these ancient names. I mean, the tradition itself says the names of Rama are some of the first poetic names of the divine ever spoken by humankind.
Yeah.
The first poem. Arguably, you know, thousands and hundreds of thousands of years old. So I try to infuse all the relationships, you know, Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram. And, you know, for those of your viewers who don't know, Sita and Ram are from the Ramayana, this epic poem, you know, one of Earth's first epic poems, you know, the Norse, you know, in Egypt and China, they're, these like ancient languages. So Sita and Ram is a story of love. It's a story of the divine, masculine and feminine, descending to this earth for the sake of a divine play, for the purpose of captivating and attracting all the souls who have wandered away back to the source. Love story, cosmic love story. So let those names bless us and heal us and mend us, Remember last night we were talking about kintsugi?
Oh, yeah. Pottery.
Yeah, tell us about kintsugi.
Kintsugi is actually one of our friends, Stina. She's got this wonderful group of pottery houses. Is that what you call them, pottery houses? She's got 3 or 4 of them in London, and one of the pieces that she makes is called, it's an art form called kintsugi, where a plate or a piece of pottery that's broken, rather than discarding it, is mended through this beautiful joinery that comes out golden. And she was telling us about how that broken pottery can be mended through the resin of a tree, but I mean it's not possible anymore, so they use different forms of resin that try and mend these together, and it has a gold line going through it, and it kind of signifies a lot about life and how life can also be in one sense broken, but there is a beauty in that.
Right.
And these pieces of kintsugi are just so exquisite that it's almost more beautiful than the original.
Right. So she told us that funny story about the emperor who
Right.
had his favorite piece of pottery broken, and he insisted that the best potters in the land come mend it, and if they couldn't do it to his satisfaction, he cut their heads off.
Straight up.
All these emperors and all these heads.
Violent, man.
Oh, God. And so the last guy did it with kintsugi. And what I didn't say, because we were shouting over dinner, what I didn't say is what's so elegant about that story, even though it involves chopping of heads. A lot of great stories have chopping of heads.
Let's not get into that.
But one of the things I love about it is that what that artist, that potter did was hold space for the saudade, this Brazilian term of love and loss and joy and separation all at the same time, because he mended it in a way that honored what it was before, but brought it into the present and into the future in a more beautiful way, saying it's okay that it's broken and it's okay that you feel sad about this, but it is made now possible.
Right.
Now is being made possible by the past. So let us honor that with this line of golden kintsugi.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's poetry in action. That's the power of song and story.
Right.
To mend and to heal on the most deep level that really can't be done in any other way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to take us on a tangent. You're a leader in your field. You're an icon in the field of Kirtan. I wouldn't be here without you. Dead straight, dead honest. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without you. And
Right.
I deeply honor all the effort, energy, work, savor that you've done to really inspire.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
No, it's the truth. You're amazing. And one thing that I'm still wrapping my head around is that role of spiritual leadership and navigating a field which really has got some broken parts in it. Like spiritual leadership has betrayed many. Many people have kind of left spiritual institutions, the practices of
Even in my own community.
yeah.
That's a
We're in
thing.
the same community, and the Krishna community. It's a big thing. Like in the 80s, there was a whole thing, and in one sense, those of older generations still hold it against us. In one sense,
And even to this day,
Yeah.
we don't have to get into names on a public
yeah.
podcast, but just recently, celebrated leader who it turned out was abusive.
Yeah. yeah.
But what I think is good is that as a community now, we've started to come up with some, what do they call them? Technologies for dealing with this. I think it's really, so one man once was asking Prabhupada, my guru's guru, my parents' guru, about a false guru, false guru who did this or false guru. And Prabhupada stopped him and he said, there is no such thing as a false guru, because if you are false, you are not guru.
Right. Wow.
So guru is such an interesting concept and term. Spiritual leader is not enough to talk about. Guru is an example. Guru is a living example of who you want to be like, who you want to become in your spiritual pursuits. So it really is troubling for people to give power away in their spiritual lives to someone else. But guru is like 24 karat gold, right? Gold is gold. I can buy something cheap on the road that looks like gold, but it just isn't. I could come up with a truckload of false gold, but it's not gold. It's just metal, and it doesn't have the properties of gold. And if I want, those of us who've gone to India and shopped in India, they don't accept anything less than 22 carats in India as being, no one wants 18 karat, 14 karat gold in India.
22 plus.
Yeah. So, because they're connoisseurs, right? It's like a wine, someone tasting wine. Have I ever tasted wine? Maybe once. I'm not a wine drinker. I don't drink. We were talking about 0.0 Guinness.
I love a 0.0. Anyone else love a 0.0? Drop us some. Give me some ideas. Give us some ideas. He just tried Guinness 0.0.
0.0 Guinness.
And I know that there's Koppenberg 0.0, the cider. Give us some ideas. I want to try something new 0.0.
So a wine drinker, they say, a wine drinker. Like Rumi talks about being intoxicated a lot in his sacred poetry. A wine drinker has lost the taste for cheap wine when they become a connoisseur, right? So these spiritual personalities are supposed to give us that exalted taste for something more, where we get to the point where we've lost taste for anything less than the real thing, right? But ultimately, guru, guide, teacher means that you're connected to the source. And if you lose that connection, you can't give it to someone else, right? Like the power company, if I want to put electrical into a new building, I have to become certified, and then I have to actually be given permission to attach a house to the power grid, right? It's not like anyone can just do it. Even if you have the knowledge, it's because you're connected, right? So in our tradition, we talk about what's called a parampara, or disciplic succession. And I think it's so important to remember that connection has to be real. It can't be someone faking or dressing like a guru. It has to be, if you don't get the power, it's not charged, right? So I think for us to recognize that guru means connected to divine power. And if they, through their ego or some other failing, lack of their own spiritual practice, have become weak to the point where, like on a car battery, it's so covered in gunk that it's not charging anymore. It's got to be cleaned. It's got to be, you either have to buy a new battery. There has to be some way of getting that charge back up. And I think it's really important that we're honest in our spiritual communities. There's one leader not in our community, but in another community in Germany that I've heard some terrible things about through friends. And there was some friends going to a festival.
I think I know what we're talking about here. Yeah.
And, I said to them, hey, I'm concerned. I've heard these things. And they were kind of like,
blasé about it.
They're like, hey, it's not our problem. I'm not here to judge.
Sure.
I'm not here to judge. This is like so many friends of mine in the spiritual community are like, no judgment, bro.
Yeah.
No judgment.
That's a big thing.
Dude, judgment.
Yeah.
Judgment, bro.
Yeah.
Judgment.
It's like, it's not even discernment anymore. It's just any sort of discernment becomes, no, you're judging.
Your judgment. No. Discernment. Judgment. That's what it means to be a yogi, a serious, a meditator, someone who is discerning and says, this is not good for me. This is good for me. This is how I'm contributing to my community.
Bhagavad Gita 101, this.
Discernment.
Yeah.
But Krishna even says in Gita that there is a way to speak the truth that's encouraging. You brought him up earlier, Keshava Swami.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to mess the quote up here, but I heard this amazing quote from him before he became a Swami, when he was still a younger monk. I heard that he said, if you speak the truth in a way that is harmful towards someone else, it is no longer the truth.
Wow.
It's such a beautiful awareness. Spiritual life is not about abusing each other or demeaning each other or stressing each other out or causing guilt complexes, but it's also not about just like chilling your way through the whole thing. As a community, we have to keep each other honest. There's a great movie called The Razor's Edge. Have you ever seen this movie? Oh my God. Have you ever seen this movie?
It's on my list now.
Razor's Edge. From the 70s, starring Bill Murray. It's a phenomenal film. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah. Spiritual life is a razor's edge. Not this, it's not that. How do we go through life on that edge? And it doesn't look like an edge, we're just singing and having fun and chilling and chatting and, eating sweet rice.
I love a good sweet rice.
For those of you who know, you know. But yeah, I think it's really important. And I feel like there is a way for us to be like a well.
How do you mean?
Well, in the sense that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But if we dig our own well deep enough, and we're authentic enough, and we're doing our own practice, that those around us will know that they can get water from us when they need it. And I think that's what you're trying to do. I know that's what your teacher, Satyanandan Swami, my teacher, Radhanath Swami, I know that in their own practice, that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. Always digging their own well. Yeah. Radhanath Swami told me that once. If you just travel all the time and you're giving, there's going to be a point where you run out of water and you actually have to be aware.
I had a similar experience. I just went to Germany a couple of weeks ago, and I had the fortune of driving my spiritual teacher. I hired a car while we were in Germany, and one morning, just as he's stepping into the car, he walks past a rose bush that's part of his kind of like front garden, front lawn, and he walks past it and he goes, "Look, Radhika, the rose, always giving fragrance, even when it doesn't get Instagram likes." And it just made me think, like it doesn't wait for someone to pass. The rose doesn't wait for someone to pass.
Wow.
It's always emanating a beautiful fragrance, and that obviously is part of its nature. And just like how you're saying, that digging of the well, it's already there. The water's already inside, already within. It's just about excavating that, bringing that out, and being ready. Like, Prabhupada had this beautiful quote where he said, "I'm just like the cow. Wherever I go, I shall give milk." And so in the same way, always ready, always almost like, I try this thing where when someone comes to me at the end of a kirtan and says, "Wow, that was amazing, that was incredible, da 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 da." Obviously, you accept the love, you pass it onwards as well, you accept the gratitude. But in response, I don't want to give them something cheap in one sense. I want to try and give them, this is a moment where this person is opening their heart to you. And in that opening of the heart, let me give them something which is going to flood that heart further. So trying to find, okay, what did I read today? And I'll just pause for a moment and say, yeah, today I was reading this. And even if it's totally unrelated, somehow or other, just share something that's a bit more meaningful than just accepting the gratitude for what it is. And I think that that's been a lesson from my spiritual teacher, to always be like a well, always be like a rose, try and find a way in which the fragrance can emanate going forward.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Bhakti, I feel in some ways the most important practice is the nourishing of our community. Not to get too esoteric in, a public space. Some of this is better in private, but, the divine realm, the idea of the spiritual world is that it's beyond the material.
Yep.
Right? And you kind of, they talk about crossing the Viraja River, that separates realms, and, entering the spiritual realm where instead of earth, water, fire, air, ether, ego, whatever, it's Sat Chit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. That's the building blocks of the divine realm. Eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Now, in that realm, everyone is in loving exchange with the divine. and Leela and play and different sweet pastimes, you know, as Stevie Wonder said, pastime paradise, right?
Pastime paradise, yeah.
Uh,
I don't know why I said that in an American accent. Pastime paradise.
yeah, great song.
Yeah.
But the truth is that even in Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual world, the majority of the time is spent with other devotees, other bhaktas, you know, together. And so in this world, you know, my experience is that almost the most important thing is my relationships with other bhaktas. Because what do I know? You know, like they say in New York, what do I know from Krishna? You know, what do I know from Krishna? So, but I do know my friends. I know how I can love and how I can serve them, and how, you know, to be there for each other and exchange and receive and cook together and sing together. You know, these are not insignificant things. They're actually the substance of our spiritual. We're like already starting to weave together the spiritual reality through our interactions, you know. Because if we are the soul that lives in this body, and this body is just like a car or a shirt, then that identity, who we are beyond the body, is who we are now. It's not who we are like after we die or something. It's who we are now, right? So all these spiritual things that Krishna says in Gita are called akarma, right? These spiritual activities like kirtan, like service, like friendship and love, all these things, they're eternal because they're touching the soul. They're coming from the soul. So we're almost like already entering into that divine realm now when we're acting in this, and you know, in these loving ways, even with our kids, with our family. If we're acting in such a way that they see God through us, we are gurus to them. You know, I think that's an important thing. Sometimes, you know, going back to your point about spiritual community and failings, and you know, a lot of people, when their guru fails them, they want to throw out all gurus. Yeah. But it's like someone who's never had a good relationship. You know, oh, I'm never getting married. Right. Oh, I hate relationships. They're terrible. But if you've ever had a good relationship, you realize, like, my wife is the fortress that is protecting our home and our family. My kids are great because of her, also because of me. But she has, and that's just not possible without us being together. Yeah. Right? So, you know, let's not throw out all these rich concepts like teacher and, you know, whatever, just because we haven't met the right person.
Yeah. Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. We have to find a guru who can be a living example for us, who himself is or herself is humble enough to say, it's not me, it's my guru, right? And that guru says, no, it's not me, it's my guru. And it goes all the way back like a telescope, a lens magnifying a transparent lens, magnifying a transparent lens, and it all shines and we see Krishna, the moon, right? And we're seeing him as if closer than we ever could with our own tools, our own skills. And that guru is magnifying that guru. And what happens is, in that awareness, we become another transparent lens for our family, for our children, for our friends. And when my friend's in a time of difficulty, he can come to me and peer through me and see, right? That's the goal.
Yeah, Janavi's father told me that on the day of my spiritual initiation, where I took vows to practice Bhakti Yoga. He told me guru is like this, and he got it from his spiritual teacher. He said he was wearing a pair of glasses, and he goes, guru is like this. Without guru, lifted the glasses, and then lowered the glasses and says, with guru.
Beautiful. So elegant.
Yeah.
So elegant.
I like that. Don't throw out the concept just because it didn't work for you in that moment, in that relationship. You didn't receive the spectacle moment.
You got the wrong prescription.
Yeah. Go and see a spiritual optometrist.
Yeah, but they have to be qualified.
Exactly.
Just like an optometrist. You wouldn't just throw any old cheap piece of plastic on and tell someone, well, I don't know why you're not seeing better. I mean, it seems like you got glasses on. I mean, you know, it's like, it can't just look like glasses. They have to be They have to actually be someone
Function.
who's qualified. And then on top of that, they have to be the right prescription for you. You can't just mimic the instruction someone else got. And just that's why we need that relationship with Guru, because the Guru can say, your vision is actually changing. It's not what it was before. So here's a new set of glasses.
I love that.
Let's adjust this. You need a new prescription. Come on in for a refitting.
And even that same guru might give you a different instruction based on time, place, and circumstance.
A year later, or yeah.
The absolute nature of instruction is actually interesting, because a lot of people say that this is what that guru said and that's how it should always be for all time. But you need to learn the concept of context,
I mean, even the prophets, Jesus, Muhammad,
right?
Buddha,
Right.
Even these great teachers, through time, so many of our friends from so many traditions, Saint Francis and Teresa and just whatever, and there's endless teachers. The instruction that they gave at that time was for the person asking the question at that time. We can learn from it. We can study it.
Of course.
But we have to learn how to apply it ourselves. And another thing that came up in our conversation together, it's our responsibility to do that. It's not our guru's responsibility. We have to apply it. We have to learn to fly the plane.
Yeah.
And when I'm laying there on my deathbed and I look around at my family for the last time in this world and these set of skills and this intelligence, and I go like this for the last time, I have got to be ready to climb into the cockpit and fly that friggin' plane.
Yeah.
No one is going to be able to fly it for me.
That's one of my spiritual teachers. He told me at one of his, it was one of these festivals where he is celebrated for being a guru. And it's basically his birthday celebration, let's call it. It's a big birthday party, but there's a lot of spiritual
in our
significance.
tradition, there's just a lot of significance.
A lot of significance.
It's a time for the community to gather around a teacher.
Yeah, to appreciate
them.
And his address was based on flying one's own plane. He said,
Beautiful.
all I'm teaching you is how to get the pump, apply it to the tire, and start squeezing. But I can't keep squeezing it all the time. You need to learn how to hold the pump.
How many arms does he have?
Yeah, and start squeezing and pumping the air in.
It's so true. I think also...
and teaching others to do the same.
Right. And this is why we need each other, because our guru, we meet him and then our guru goes away and is with another student. In the time in between, we got to help each other, remind each other, hey, your tire's looking a little low.
Looking a bit flat there.
Yeah, come on, I'll help you, let's pump it up, That's the great value of spiritual community. And that's the great metaphor of Kirtan. When we're in Kirtan together, all of our imperfections merge together into this sea of sweetness. In my recordings, I always have a party track.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's a little secret that I
It's part of the formation.
So anyone who's produced music before, these days everyone's multi-tracking things, right? You get a bass track, it might even be recorded live, but then you track on top of it, some adding backing vocals, some extra instruments, maybe some percussion here or there, right? Adding.
Layer.
But in professional recording for things like the pop industry and stuff, they want it pristine. But if you do that, you'll never get the Kirtan vibe. So at the end of it, we always add a track of just a bunch of friends in there hooting and hollering, clapping, laughing, making jokes, whatever is natural.
I love that.
And you choose to use it where you need to give that little extra something.
I love that.
Because Kirtan is about the sum being greater than the parts.
Yeah.
Right? The whole, when you put it all together, we're better together than we are by ourselves.
That's a life lesson right there.
I have a song that I would love to play for you.
Yeah.
Can we do one more song?
I think so.
Do we have time for another
Let me have
song?
a look at the clock. We do.
We do?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let me tell you about this song.
Okay.
So one of the people that I've idolized and I met once, but I don't remember because I was too young, is fellow Brit George Harrison. So apparently, George came and visited us in Los Angeles when I was a kid, and I got to sit on his lap.
What?
I've never washed my rear side my whole life sinse then.
Wow.
Because I want to keep that energy of George Harrison on. No, I'm just joking. Oh my God. God. But apparently there's a song which I've actually never heard. I need to find this song. Here Comes the Moon, which is like his comment on his life with the Beatles, like, here comes the moon, the moon, the moon. It's like opposite of Here Comes the Sun. Almost like,
Wow.
have you heard this song? I got to find it. We should find it.
We should find it. Definitely.
So my mom taught me to sing because my mom was the wonderful fanatical Krishna devotee that she was.
Love it.
She taught me to sing, here comes the moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. Krishna's moon. So I apparently sang that to George Harrison.
Wow.
But his music has been a great inspiration in my life. The way that he was so open-hearted in sharing his journey and inspiring others to also take their spiritual journey seriously, but putting it into a musical framework that people could receive it.
Wow.
You know, I was at a road stop on a tour once, and I saw a truck driver singing to My Sweet Lord, Hare Krishna.
Wow.
Hare Krishna, you know.
American truck driver.
American truck driver.
Wow.
Because they received it through George. They were willing to sing it, right? So in a way, that's my aspiration, to be able to do music in a way that it can be received by anyone, but it's connected to that source, still connected to that source. Beautiful. So this is a song written by George that I've kind of modified.
Incredible.
And it's called, George called it Awaiting on You All. And yeah.
Let's rock it.
All right. I don't need a passport. I don't need a visa. No, no. I don't need to designate or to emigrate to see Krishna. No, no. If I open up my heart, I'll see he's right here. He always was and will be. He'll relieve me from my fears, because chanting the names of the Lord will set me free. The Lord is awaiting on me to awaken and see. Chanting the names of the Lord will set me free. The Lord is awaiting on me to awaken and see. Chanting the names of the Lord, chanting the names of the Lord. By chanting the names of the Lord, I'll be free. Chanting the names of the Lord, chanting the names of the Lord. By chanting the names of the Lord, I'll be free. I'll be free. I'll be, J.J. Radhe, J.J. Sham. Yeah, yeah. That's it. J.J. Radhe, J.J. Sham. Yeah, yeah. Jaya Shri, 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 Vrindavanadam. Jaya Shri, 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 Vrindavanadam. Jaya Shri, 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 Vrindavanadam. Jaya Shri, 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 Vrindavanadam.
Woo! I can hear you all cheering. Make some noise, Gaura Vani.
Yeah. I love you, London. You know, my teacher's father.
Great grandfather's father.
So he was, at the time of the British Raj in India, he was a high court judge. But at night he would write ecstatic poetry.
What's his name?
Bhakti Vinod.
Bhakti Vinod.
Bhakti Vinod.
I mean, I'm saying it like I don't know his name, but I know his name.
No. You're asking. You're asking for your view.
I'm asking for all of you.
Yeah. So
we love you.
So Bhakti Vinod, in the midst of being first, India's under the Mughals for whatever 1,000 years, then it's under the British for whatever 500 years or whatever, and he's serving under this government, but he has a vision for a time when the Bhakti movement will not just be allowed in India, and flourish in India, but will actually nourish the souls all over the globe in all the other countries of the world. That was his vision.
Wow.
Such a vision at such an interesting time in history. So he says he has a vision for what he called the Church of Kirtan.
And this is what, 500 years ago?
No, this is 250. Something like that. Yeah, 250. The Church of Kirtan invites all classes of people without distinction to engage in the highest cultivation of the spirit. This church, it appears, will extend all over the world and take the place of all sectarian institutions which exclude outsiders from the precincts of the mosque, the church, or the temple. So this is from his book, Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts. That's my aspiration. Through the power of song and story, let's create this universal church of sacred song and sacred story that welcomes everyone.
Wow. With that, I think I don't want to end here. Can we just do this all day? This has genuinely been my favorite episode ever. And I'm not just saying it because you're sitting opposite me. I sincerely mean it. This has been epic. It's had everything. It's had great stories, great conversation, great music. You've got a great presence. And I mean, not that my prayers are worth anything, but I'm praying to God, to my Krishna, that that vision becomes a reality, that in some way, shape or form, I can be a part of that vision, because it just speaks to my heart so much. And you've taught me so much, and I really value your friendship and your mentorship and your guidance. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish all the same for you.
Thanks.
Unlimited personal, practical, and spiritual success in every aspect of your life.
That means a lot.
Thanks, brother.
See you all on the next episode of A Soul's Sake. Oh, man, this is a good one to rewind. This is a good one to replay. This is a good one to play for the rest of your life if you wanted to. It's got so much meaning, so much, so much transformational value. And I really hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. See you on the next one. For Soul's Sake, give it a share. Peace out.
Soul